So now we'll go for the next topic, that is the third one, that is non coplanar concurrent force system. Now for this one we'll take XYZ axis. Okay, so for example I have X, Y and Z axis. This is X and this is Y, and Z axis is exactly perpendicular to the board, isn't it? So we cannot draw a perpendicular line, so that is why we'll draw Z axis. So we have non-coplanar concurrent force. That means all the forces are not lying in same plane but concurrent to each other. So that means they are meeting at each point. So one force, another force and another force. So we have multiple forces F. So these forces are in different planes. One force is in XY plane, another one is YZ plane and another one is ZX plane. All the forces are in different planes. So that is why the forces are in different planes but they are meeting at each point, a single point, that is one point. So that is why it is said to be non-coplanar concurrent force system. So I can write here as forces which lie in different planes but meet at a single point is said to be non-coplanar concurrent force system. So able to understand, forces which lie in different planes, all the forces are lying in different planes but meet at a single point, they are meeting at a single point, is said to be your non-coplanar concurrent force system. Similarly, we have one more, that is non-coplanar non-concurrent force system. So what is the meaning of this one? We have again X and Y axis. Otherwise I will write here. You can take down this figure. Suppose for example I have XYZ plane. One force is going in this direction, another force is going in another direction. F and F. So what is happening here? All the three forces are in different planes and they are not meeting at a single point. So that is why they are said to be non-coplanar non-concurrent force system. Forces which lie in different planes and do not meet at single point is said to be your non-coplanar non-concurrent force system. So that means forces which lie in different planes and do not meet at a single point is known as non-coplanar non-concurrent force system. Okay, you can copy down this one. Now after this one, we will go for the principle of transmissibility. So what is principle of transmissibility? Yes, principle of transmissibility is, suppose for example, I will write here, principle of transmissibility. Principle of transmissibility. So for example, see here, principle of transmissibility states that, suppose for example I have a ground here and I have a block, okay, and somebody has applied a force P on this block, okay, there is a force applied on the block which the intensity of the force is P. So if I remove this force, principle of transmissibility states that if you remove this force and place the same force along the line of action of force, so this is said to be your line of action of force. This line is said to be your internal line, is said to be your line of action of force. Line of action of force. So previously the force is applied here, I have shifted the force from this place to this place, then the effect of this force on this body will be same. Principle of transmissibility states that the effect of force P is same, the effect of force P is same when the force P is shifted along the line of action of force. Able to understand? If you apply the force like this, or I will draw two figures. So this is block, the same block, applied force is P. So this is the line of action of force. Now again I will draw the same figure here, the same block. So this is the line of action, right? This is the line of action of force. So if you take the force, if you shift this force P on the right side, then the effect of this force will be same and the effect of this force on this body will be same and this body will be same. So principle of transmissibility states that the force applied on the body is shifted along the line of action of force, along the line of action of force, then the effect of that force on the body will be same. I will write here, it states that the effect of force is same on the body if the force is shifted, if the same force, if the same force is shifted along the line of action of force. Able to understand? It states that the effect of force is same on the body, the effect of force is same on the body if the same force, is shifted along the line of action of force. Able to understand? This is about your principle of transmissibility. This is the principle of transmissibility. Alright. So now after this one, we'll go for the components of forces. Components of forces is also a very important topic. Components of forces will be helpful for us all for till your third year or final year, because we'll be dealing with all the inclined forces. Okay. So components of forces are very important. So try to be more attentive in this session, because components of forces are the gist of this entire engineering mechanics first and second unit. In the first and second unit, we'll be dealing with all components of forces. Components means part of the force. Okay, component of forces is nothing but part of forces. How many parts are there in a force? We apply the force. I am applying a force in horizontal way, but what are the parts? How many parts are there in my application of force? Okay, all these things we'll see now. Okay, so you can copy down this one, principle of transmissibility. Now, after principle of transmissibility, we have components of forces. So what is the meaning of components of forces? Components of forces is nothing but part of any force. Okay, how many parts are there in a force? Suppose for example, this is my x and y axis. Okay, x axis and y axis. So if I apply an inclined force, okay, I make it as P. Okay, this force is P, this is my x axis and this is my y axis. So I have applied a force which is inclined force, and the name of that force is P. Okay, so now the angle made by the force P with x axis, let this be alpha. Okay, and the angle made by the force P with y axis be beta. Okay, I don't know what is alpha, what is beta. Okay, so now whenever you see any ball or football, suppose for example a ball is resting on the ground, so what will happen? The footballer will kick the ball, isn't it? So if they kick the ball, what will happen to the ball? The ball will go in this fashion. Okay, so this is nothing but your force P, but the footballer or the sportsman or the person will hit the ball in two parts. How many parts? Two parts. That is, one in x direction and one will be in y direction. Okay, so for example, since we have x and y axis, so we will be having only two components. If we have z axis, then x, y and z, three components. Okay, so the footballer will kick the ball in such a way that it will have two parts. The same thing will happen here when you kick the when the force P, the force is inclined. When the force is inclined and it is going in any direction, so then what will happen? It will have two components. One will be in x direction, another one will be in y direction. So we'll name this as Px, that is x component of P and y component of P. So we have totally how many components now for this force? We have two components, x component and y component. Okay, so x component, I'll write here when the angle is with x axis. Okay, so since the angle is with x axis here, so what I will do here, Px is given as P cos alpha and Py is given as P sin alpha. Okay, this is the formula. X component is given as P cos alpha and y component is given as P sin alpha, since we are taking this angle. Okay, now very important. So when we are considering alpha, then Px is equal to P cos alpha, Py is equal to P sin alpha. Suppose for example I don't have this angle. So I'll write here, when the angle is with y-axis. So when the angle is with y-axis, here in this case we have alpha in the previous case, and here we have beta. So now what will happen to Px? Px is equal to P sin beta, and Py is equal to P cos beta. Since we are changing the angles, isn't it? This is the beta is the angle made by the force P with y-axis, whereas P is the angle, alpha is the angle made by the force P with x-axis. So x-axis formula will become different, for y-axis formula will become different, vice versa. Okay. So this is very, very important concept. Seems to be a bit confusing. Here Px is equal to P cos alpha, here Px is equal to P sin alpha, sin beta. Why? Because beta is the angle made by the force P with y-axis. Similarly, alpha is the angle made by the force P with x-axis. Okay. Whenever we are considering angle with x-axis, then we have to take Px is equal to P cos alpha, Py is equal to P sin alpha. Whenever we are considering with y-axis, then Px is equal to P sin beta, Py is equal to P cos beta. Okay. So try to understand this concept very carefully. Okay. अगर एंगल और x एक्सिस से है तो ये फार्मूला लेना है, अगर एंगल y एक्सिस से है तो वी हैव टू यूज दिस फार्मूला. ऑलराइट. सो वेरी केयरफुली यू keep these things in your mind, because all these things will be using in our future problems. Okay. So now after completion of this components of forces, we'll go for one problem. Okay, very simple problem. We'll take down that problem. You can copy down this one, components of forces as side heading. Now after this one, we'll go for one problem, that is compute the components of forces shown in figure. So we have one force, another force, one more force. Okay, so this is our x axis, y, x, y. Okay, so this angle is 60 degrees, and this one P is equal to 200 Newton. Whereas this angle, this is given as 2, 3, this is 7, 22 Newtons. Okay, and this one is given as 400 Newtons, and this angle is given as 35 degrees, and this force is 448 Newtons. We'll name this as P, this force as T, and this force as Q, and this force as F. Okay, and this angle is also not given to us, so this is 1 and 2. Let this be alpha and this be theta. Okay, so this angle and this angle will be same, and the angle made by this inclined line with x-axis is alpha. So what will happen? Alternate angle, that is this angle, will also be alpha. This is x-axis, it is linked with x-axis, this inclined line making an angle of alpha with x-axis, horizontal line. So the same line will make an angle of alpha with x-axis. Okay. So now we have to calculate all the components of each force. So as I told you, in a 2D frame we'll be having two components of each inclined force. So here we'll be having Px and here we'll be having Py. Okay, two components, Px and Py. Similarly, we have Ty and Tx. Here also, since the force is Q, so I'll write here Qy and Qx. Then again, we have Fx and Fy. Two components. All inclined forces will have how many components? Two components. Okay. So we'll start with the force P in the first quadrant. Okay. I'll write here side heading as components of forces. Components of forces. So I'll write here, I'll divide this board into two parts. Okay, so now P is equal to how much it is given? P is equal to there 200 newtons. 200 newtons. Now what is the angle? Angle is 60 degrees, isn't it? I'll write here angle is equal to 60 degrees. The angle made by force P is making an angle of 60 degrees. The force P is making an angle of 60 degrees with which axis? X-axis, isn't it? So I'll write here x-axis. Now if you recall, what is the component Px is equal to, given as Px is equal to P cos theta, or else I'll write here directly cos 60, and Py is equal to P sin 60. Just in the next last turn back, and you can, if you have written, you can see that P cos 60 and P sin 60 for when the angle is made with x-axis, right? So Px is equal to, what is P? We have 200 into cos 60. Similarly, Py is equal to P, what is P? P is again 200 into sin 60. So you will be getting two values, that is Px is equal to some value in newtons and Py is equal to some value in newtons. Alright. So both the values will be positive. Why? Because it is in first quadrant. What is the direction of the force? You can tell me. What is the direction of this force? The direction of the force P is up to the right. The direction of the force is up to the right. Direction of the force is up to the right. Very, very important. The direction of the force is up to the right. Why? Because it is going in upward direction and in right direction. So that is why for the direction of force P is up to the right. Similarly, when you go for the force T, the force T is going in up to the left direction. The direction of the force T is up to the left. Now we will calculate the components of force T also. So what is the value of T here given? T is equal to 722 newtons, and theta we don't know. We don't know the angle. So how will you calculate angle? For that they have given us a triangle. This is the triangle given to us, isn't it? This is 2, 3, and what about this hypotenuse? Can you calculate this one? This is 3 square plus 2 square. You will be getting under root 13. Alright. So under root 13. So Tx is equal to T cos, what is this angle? It is given as theta there. So T cos theta. And what about Ty? Ty is equal to T sin theta. Okay. So what is Tx? T is 722. What is the value of cos theta from this figure? Cos theta we can calculate 2 by root 13. So into 2 by root 13. Similarly, sorry, this is Tx. Then Ty is equal to 722 into what is the value of sin theta? Opposite by hypotenuse, right? So 3 by root 13. So we will get the value of Tx in newtons and Ty in newtons. Here in this case, since the force is in second quadrant up to the left, so in the left side x will be negative and y will be positive. So this value will be negative and this value will be positive. In the first case, both the values will be positive because they are in first quadrant. Alright. Copy down this one. Then we'll go for the force Q and F. Now we'll go for the force Q. Q is equal to 400 Newton and what is the angle? Angle is 35 degrees. Okay, and the angle is 35 degrees with x-axis. So what will happen if the angle is with x-axis? The formula will be Qx is equal to Q cos theta or cos 35 and Qy is equal to Q sin 35. So Q is equal to 400 into sin 35 and Qy is equal to 400 into sin 35. So here, since the force is in third quadrant, so x will be negative, y will also be negative. So you will get the values Qx in negative sign and Qy in negative sign. Okay. So this is about your Qx and Qy. Now we'll go for the force F. What is the value of force F? We have 448 newtons, right? So F is equal to 448 newtons. And what about angle? Angle we don't know. So we have to calculate angle. For that calculation of angles, it has given us a triangle. So 1, 2, this is alpha. So what will happen to this one? 1 square plus 2 square, which is equal to root 5. Okay. So Fx is equal to F cos alpha and Fy is equal to F sin alpha. So what is F? 448 into cos alpha is how much? 2 by root 5. And what about Fy? 448 into 1 by root 5, isn't it? Sin alpha. So you will be getting Fx some value and Fy some value in newtons. And here in the fourth quadrant, x will be positive and y will be negative. Okay, this is how we calculate components of forces. Okay, components of forces are very, very important. It will be helpful for us in calculation of resultants also. All the things we are saying, what we are actually calculating is to finally calculate the resultant. Okay, see here, the footballer is kicking the ball in two directions. So what is the resultant? Resultant is the ball is going in inclined direction. Okay, so all these things will be seeing step by step. So my suggestion is go through the entire class of today's class and try to solve this problem on your own. Okay, understand first, see the video, understand the concept, and try to solve the problem on your own. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. If you could not able to understand anything, you can comment in the sections, or how whatever your doubts is, you can mention all those things in your comment box. Okay, so step by step we'll be learning all the things. In the next class we have some more different types of problems. Okay, so once you practice these problems, it will be helpful for the next upcoming problems. Okay, so every class is important, every topic is important. If you miss any topic or if you miss any class, you will not be able to understand the next topics. Okay, so try to be very regular and attentive by seeing those videos, and try to be very practicing these subjects, because it will be helpful for you till your end of the units, because each and every unit is linked with each other. It is not like one unit is different, another unit, second unit is different. First unit is actually linked with the third unit, second unit, and third unit is linked with fourth unit. So thereby all the units are interrelated to each other. So for that case, you have to understand all the topics very carefully. Then only you can be able to understand all the problems, as well as you will understand the subject as well. Okay, thank you.